Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Shittubes. Pop quiz. Can you tell me what you'd get if you mixed that anime snob with the average kid who worships Kanye West? You get the current iteration of Digibro, as in the most unself-aware anime channel on the face of YouTube, save for maybe Double 4 Anime. Salutations, weebs. I'm Kaiser, your local YouTube shitlord, this side of barely under 400 subscribers. And today I wanted to talk about Digibro, perhaps one of the anime-themed channels that has really hit rock bottom in recent years. Not in subscriber counts or anything, but more so in personal image count, and brain cells lost due to drowning his own gut feelings of being inadequate with a load of booze, partially to look more mature, like, oh look how much beer I drink, I'm so hip and fucking edgy. I figured the best and most entertaining way to roast Digibro would be to implement it all into a ShitTube video. I never thought I'd find a use for Digibro to be in this series, but personally, now I do. Because there's a lot of problems he's developed, both as a person and as a content creator, and I'll explain to you why in 3 parts, which will probably take more time than it has to make. So stick around if you're a fan of Digibro and want an excuse to suck his cock in the comments section. I'm basically giving you the equivalent of, your Mormon dad's permission to masturbate. Now let's get the one thing that his retarded fanbase will always try to defend him on. His lack of self-awareness of his own hypocrisy. While this has nothing to do with his content, it has everything to do with how he's been handling himself when not in the role of an analyst. He used to be one of those guys who tell everyone that there's no such thing as objectively good, and he'd show this attitude in things like his debates with, that anime snob. But now, over time, he's gotten to a point where he's basically talking out of his ass, and only talking to people who suck his dick. If he's not out there desperate to defend himself in everyone's comment sections on videos about him. He's gotten to the point that he's basically letting his inner elitist become his only aspect as an actual person. Which you say has an impact, and the fact that he complained in such a snide and condescending way to other YouTubers about things, like taking way too long to get to the point, despite most of his videos being able to be summed up to less than what they are, really hurts his reputation with people who could be future subscribers. If only he didn't come off as an elitist asshole. In fact, let me show you how simple it is to sum up his opinion, which he may just come to this video to pretend like I missed the point, and use some vague dialogue to confuse me or you. Julia says why she hates capitalism, but not why she's a total feminist cunt who uses explosives on men, and she probably would vote Bernie Sanders. Ayato is a fag and a shit Mary Sue, but also can't pick if he wants to be a loner or a chipper upstanding guy. Kirin is lolly pedo bait trash and can't live without someone to hold her hand, because feminism hardly helps anyone do anything but vote and get a job. Saya is an emotionless snarker with zero personality beyond liking the MC and being Kirin's friend. Claudia is a total whore with some personality disorder issues, and would probably fuck even a fat clown like Snob if she wasn't in this shit story. The sister doesn't do shit. This guy is clearly evil and we don't know why, and everyone else is equally shit. The world is bland despite being in a futuristic setting, and this anime is better than this anime, but that's not saying much. There, see? And then there's the fact that he can barely handle criticism of him without coming off as desperate, like he can't stand that people don't view him in a good light. Look, buddy, from one asshole to another, it's not gonna matter who does and doesn't like you, unless you're religious and think God or Allah or Zeus even hates you. I've never seen people make videos on me, but if they did, I wouldn't hunt them down just to, defend myself. I don't need to. People have every right to hate you, or not hate you. You can't be the one person who's not allowed to be talked badly about. YouTube is not a college safe space. No matter what fans say, you can't just sit around and complain most of the time in a hypocritical fashion, and then say in some obscure video, some kind of self-aware line of dialogue that devolves into you ranting about yourself. Self-awareness has to be shown as often as possible. You have to think self-awarely. You have to think about what you say, which is why your vlogs are so terrible, in my honest actual opinion, and not just a roast, which I'll get into that next. Now that we've gotten my issue with him turning more and more into a degenerate, with lessening ability to actually just take the fact that others happen to like things that he doesn't like, now we can talk about what I think needs to change about his content and why. As you've noticed, he's become more and more of a vlogger than he used to be. I feel like he's trying to emulate popular vlogging channels in the hopes that it's going to net him new subs, and it might be working. But the problem is that he's far too unstructured in it, and it lacks the flair of someone like Casey Neistat. Now Casey, despite being a politically motivated shill, is actually good at making vlogs. In fact, he's actually quite the expert. Notice how Casey is always making unique takes, moments where he's doing things like changing scenery, and riding up to the camera almost run over by traffic to create an awkward but interesting transition. As well, he's got music most of the time in his vlogs. Vlogs by themselves are truly uninteresting as content itself. There's really not much to go with. It either requires a truly unique place to film in, or a major flair like music and interesting transitions. What you, Digibro, do at most is you talk like in a room or outside. 4 months ago, as of the making of this video, I saw you made a vlog where you actually rapped in the video. Now this was one of your more interesting raps, simply because I could actually understand what you were saying better than your actual music videos.
I drank half a case of Ducati so I could get sloppy enough to do my job properly. I'm probably the only psychopath who works this constantly, but I don't know who else to be. You're nobody, you're stopping me. I get frustrated, stated that I hate it, but
and my point is best demonstrated by that one moment in that vlog. Unfortunately, it's only that one part. The rest was just your typical vlog from your channel, with the same type of transitions. And it's all unstructured. For me personally, I have to have a script. I have to script everything to some degree, because it helps to organize some stuff. Even if almost unscripted like my Dragon Ball Super episode 100 rant, I still had to think of specific jokes to make and where to say them. To be honest, I don't even do vlogs that much, or even that well either. I'm not much different. Sure, I try to add music, but vlogs are the type of things that you have to have experience with, and you've done a lot of vlogs. Yet you're not even close to Casey Neistat yet. It doesn't take as long as him to get it right, but it shouldn't take too long, and it should take an interest in them. For me, I prefer only playing in that area of the pool called vlog channels, if there's something interesting, you know? If I had skills in skateboarding or some shit, I'd do it. But I don't. But you can still do better. Vlogs are the things that, when done right, aren't some kind of soul of a single channel. It's not like some trademark of that one channel. It's merely the evolution of that brand of content, and you shouldn't be afraid to copy from someone like Casey. Because you can't copyright or trademark content types, unless you happen to be the fine bros and think you're that important. And if you're one of those people, well, let me tell you, you're about as important as a stain on someone's bed sheets that you'd need a UV light to see. If anything is clear, your foray into vlogs has really hampered your attempts at meeting your full potential. But not just that, but you've clearly not been handling your fame well. You've let it get to your head, where you think that you should only do collabs or talk to people who agree with you, and have the same interests as you. While it's perfectly normal and good to do content that interests you 100%, it's also not healthy to not delve into other areas and collab with other people. Even if you can't bring yourself to collab with someone just because of something stupid like taste in anime or taste in other forms of media, that probably means you think yourself to be better than them. And not in a mocking manner. You need to be willing to try and find things you can collab on with other people, or you really will end up being the guy who does things just to make yourself feel really cool. If you 100% try to feel too cool for school all the time by only hanging with people that want to suck you off for that attention from senpai, then you're actually going to think that you're that cool when you return to reality. Look at me, for example. Even if someone thinks I'm cool with this helmeted avatar of my channel, when I return to reality, I'm still sitting on my ass, playing Dokkan Battle on BlueStacks, fapping to hot anime girls and imagining what it'd be like to do it with them, even making stories in my head for immersion, whether they be straight girls or not. eating whatever I have on me, while desperately looking for a job since I can't expect myself to be paid on Patreon like you can. There you go. You see, at the end of the day, you're not as cool as you think you are or would like to be, and you never will be. The more power you have, the more your self-image seems to increase, and you forgot to remind yourself about that. You've become lazy, thinking that you really are some cool-ass dude that should be the center of what people do for content. And yet all you're doing is bitching at other YouTubers, vlogging, and other shit, when that wasn't your channel initially. Initially, you used to be a brony channel, but there is such a thing as losing interest in something, but you don't seem to be dropping anime altogether, you're just not really talking about it in a productive fashion. You're just basically looking more and more like a kid with ADHD using YouTube as a platform to ease that tension in your brain. And that's actually perfectly okay, if you came out and admitted that at least. But you're not. You're still uploading decent content to your main YouTube channel, even if barely, but it's rarely ever coming out. Now whether I like the content for its editing style or for what you actually said, that's a different story. At the end of the day, you really are looking more and more like a one-trick pony who only got big on his SAO and Asterisk Wars reviews, which was also too many parts to get to the point, regardless of how much you think that anime sucks. And you should think better and know better than to just let that be. At least if we go by the standard that you tried to set in your rant, but didn't really match up to all that well yourself. You're sounding more and more like a person who just wants to put fancy words in your title just to come off as intelligent, or somebody who just likes to reserve the right to complain just because you got a lot of subscribers, so you're all like, oh look at me, I got all these subscribers, of course I'm right. Of course I'm not one bit hypocritical. The point of, having a standard is that it's something you follow yourself, You shouldn't really have the right to say and talk this kind of stuff unless you actually follow it. You can't be like, you need to do this and that. You need to be the first one to set an example, but you haven't really been setting that example. You used to do a better job at that, but not anymore. You claim to know how to do good content, so do it. If you're going to be making vlogs though, at least try to actually follow Casey Neistat to a T. Don't think of it as stealing. Or do, and accept it as such. But think of it as a necessity. Evolve with the content, just as others are. The content hasn't changed, just the overall look, the aesthetic of it. So, make sure you show the whole world what a Jesus lookalike can do when he finally shaves his beard off and stops drinking his insecurities away. Save the alcohol for times of celebration, not just every fucking day. And now, I'll leave you off at that. I'm going to wait and see the influx of just butthurt fans just come in and all that because they couldn't stand that somebody wanted to roast their fucking god. So remember folks, you can like something, but you shouldn't have to be a fan of it. Remember, you can't spell fanatic without fan.
Oh, hell no!
You know what it is. Every slip I roll, I roll it big. Screaming that skunk. When I roll up the blunt, that skunk. See me in your town with the pounds of hay. Green and purple, green and purple, green and purple, green and purple. If you smoke this shit, you'll be out for days. Green and purple, green and purple, green and purple, green and purple. Yeah, we smoking diesel. Yeah, we smoking kush. I just smoked some shit, I think they called it George Bush. It got me feeling